right. I think we're up. I think we are live. I think we are going. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the live chat. That is right. We are back. Time to break down the latest gaming industry news as we always do here on the channel. Thanks so much, everyone, for jumping in, for getting those questions dropped down into chat. It is so good to see everyone. Pumped to be back. Pumped to be chatting with all of you today. And yeah, so a few topics off the top that we can talk about. I don't think there's really any housekeeping notes, not too much new with me. Yeah, not any really big news on my end to talk about. So let's just dive straight into some of the topics we can talk about today. July NPD data came out last week, so we have that we can talk about. A whole bunch there we can break down in terms of software, in terms of hardware sales. Just announced today we have another next generation game that was targeting that launch window being delayed, and that is Deathloop from Arcane. That has been delayed now to Q2 of next year. So following Halo Infinite's delay, we have another one. You know, we can talk about, do we expect more delays? If more games do get delayed, how's it going to affect the launch of next-gen systems? A whole bunch of information came out of Hot Chips 2020 in regards to the Xbox Series X's specs and its GPU, so we can go into that a little bit if y'all want to. And yeah, so much more. Ghost of Tsushima, of course, just announced a free multiplayer edition coming next year, so I'm sure there's going to be some questions about that as well. As always, you drive this channel, you drive this chat, so anyone that's here for the first time ever, the way it works, you drop your comments, you drop your questions down into chat, and I hit as many as possible. We break down as much news as possible, so get those questions dropping down into chat if there's anything that you want to talk about. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. All right, everyone. My phone's kind of blowing up, so let me just make sure there's nothing crazy going on here. No, nothing that important. All right. Really quick, I'm going to list off the best-selling games in July NPD. That way we can get that right off of the top for anyone that hasn't heard what are the best-selling games for July in the US, in case anyone has any questions about that. Number one best-selling game last month, not shocking in my opinion, Ghost of Tsushima. It's the biggest launch ever for Sucker Punch Productions by far. Their fastest-selling game ever. So that tops the charts at number one. Number two, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which has just been selling utterly amazing, even by Call of Duty standards. Like, Modern Warfare is doing spectacular. It's truly spectacular. So that's your number two best-selling game. Paper Mario: The Origami King debuts at number three. It's the best launch ever for the Paper Mario franchise, so excellent result there for Paper Mario. The Last of Us Part 2 places number 4. Nice hold. Nice to see it there in the top 5 still in its second month. So number 4 for The Last of Us Part 2. Number 5 is Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 6, Ring Fit Adventure. Number 7, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Super Smash number 9. And Sword Art Online at number 10. So there's your 10 best-selling games for the month of July in the US. In terms of hardware, Switch did really good, as has been the case all year. Excellent result for Switch. It was your best-selling hardware. PlayStation 4 did pretty well, pretty solid for the month. That was your number 2 best-selling hardware. And Xbox One, whew! Can't go into units, but a disastrous month for the Xbox One, and that is your number 3 console out of the current gen systems. Really poor result for Xbox One hardware. So yeah, that's just kind of your really quick July NPD wrap up. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of questions about that, so I'll go more in depth on some of my opinions and analysis on that. But that's just kind of your base level look at what July looked like for NPD. I'm going to kick it off. We have a super chat here, so let me hit that super chat right off the bat. Kellegrim with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Kellegrim. saying, "Sup, Benji, I'll think of a question in a bit." Thank you for the super chat, Kelligrim. Thank you so much for dropping that. Yeah, let me know. Whatever question you got, I will definitely answer it for you for that super chat. Thank you. And then Timor72299 also with the super chat right off of the top saying, "Hi Benji, hello Timor, good to see you in the chat as always. Take-Two is no longer sharing digital data with NPD. Yeah, this is fascinating. What are your thoughts on this, plus the death loop delay?" Yeah, so this is super interesting. A lot of people noticed whenever the charts came out that Grand Theft Auto 5 was missing off of the list. And Grand Theft Auto 5 has been a mainstay, right? It's been really since launch, since that game came out, it has been one of the best-selling games in NPD basically every single month. Very rarely is it outside of the top 10. And it was completely missing, which is pretty wild to see. So clearly, and then we got a later update. Yeah, Take-Two is not going to be doing any digital data sharing, at least for now, with NPD. What happened there, I have no idea. That would be something that maybe Matt Piscatella can answer, but he actually might not be able to answer it publicly. Something's going on behind the scenes there, clearly, between Take-Two and NPD. You know, there's some publishers that already weren't sharing digital data, even though there's a ton that are. Nintendo, for example, gives no digital data to NPD, and Bethesda as well. None of the Bethesda games ever have digital included. So now it seems Take-Two is the first company we're seeing that was sharing digital data, and now they've pulled it. So that makes me worry that potentially other publishers could do the same. That would be really disheartening for someone like me, you know, and many of you here in chat. You know, a lot of us are really enthusiastic about sales data, getting as much information as we can, seeing the best perspectives that we can. And if we start to see digital go away, you know, it was nice because NPD, yeah, they were missing a few of the biggest publishers, but you could get a pretty good look at the way the US market was. Nintendo and Bethesda being big ones, but for the most part, you had a pretty strong idea how things were performing. If we see other publishers now start to pull back out of sharing that digital, wow, that will be a bummer. That will be really sad to see. So I hope, Timor, that we don't see more of this. What's going on behind the scenes there, I don't know. Clearly some sort of conflict between NPD and Take-Two. Hopefully it will be fixed in the future and we get digital data, but who knows? Yeah, this could be a permanent thing. You know, I hope not, but you never know. In terms of the Deathloop delay, you know, I have two thoughts about it. First of all, I think it's actually good for Deathloop, you know, because it was coming out. We didn't have an exact date, but sometime in the launch window of the PlayStation 5. And, you know, there was some really big games to compete with this holiday. Call of Duty, of course, is going to be there. Cyberpunk 2077, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You know, there's some really big games there. And I think a game like Deathloop, which is a brand new IP, I think it looks really good, but it could have possibly been drowned out this holiday against some of those really, really big games. So in terms of Deathloop itself, I think it's actually probably a good thing for it that it's getting delayed till next year. The only thing that worries me, though, is if we see more games get delayed. You know, we just saw Halo Infinite get delayed, and now we're seeing Deathloop get delayed. So that launch time frame for next-gen consoles, we are seeing software kind of get a little bit thinner. So I really hope that we don't see this, you know, happen more and more. I really hope that Cyberpunk keeps its date, Assassin's Creed keeps its date. It will be a little worrying, I would say, Timor, if we start to see multiple other games get delayed. If we see multiple of them now, besides Halo and Deathloop, get delayed out, that could potentially be an issue. That could be a potential issue. I don't think we're there yet. I still think we have some really big games there. But, yeah, let's keep an eye on that. If we see more get delayed, I mean, my goodness, if Cyberpunk gets delayed or Assassin's Creed, it could be a big deal. It could be a big deal. Thank you for the 2 super chats off of the top. Okay, now back to the non-paid questions. We have Elias Stapleton here dropping a question saying, "Sup, Benji? Hello, good to see you, Elias." Saying, "Thanks for the live chat." You're welcome, of course. I love being here. And then you say, I have some doubts about some of your tweets. Recently, you said The Last of Us 2 was the faster selling game in the US, only behind God of War and Spidey, but then you said that was a mistake. And the correct wording is best selling of all time in the US, only behind God of War and Spidey in only 3 months. What does this mean for The Last of Us 2? Thanks. Yes, Elias. So I deleted that tweet because I read the PR wrong. It was a mistake on my end, Elias. I was at work actually whenever I was reading this, and I wasn't paying close enough attention, and I misinterpreted the PR. So first, let's say what I originally said that was wrong. So I thought that the PR had said that after 2 months that The Last of Us Part 2 was the third fastest selling game of for PlayStation exclusive for PlayStation 4 of all time in the US. And my original thought was, oh, that means that its second month was lower than God of War's because in its launch month, The Last of Us Part 2 was the second best selling game, or fastest selling game, only behind Spider-Man. So I was thinking, oh, if now it's saying it's the third fastest, that would mean that its 2 month total is lower than God of War. Turns out I read that PR wrong, so I quickly deleted the tweet once I realized that. What it actually said was that it is the third highest of all time, not fastest, all time dollar sales for a PlayStation exclusive. It's number 3. So that means total, right? Not fastest selling, total sales volume, it's third. So that doesn't mean that its second month was lower than God of War. That was me reading the PR wrong. It wasn't fastest selling, it's total. So what it means for The Last of Us is a great result, right? It's fantastic. It's already the third highest ever behind Spidey and behind God of War. One thing to keep in mind is this isn't total units. NPD ranks by revenue. So it's dollar sales. Its dollar sales are the third highest ever. So in units, it's probably still behind. I don't know for sure the exact, but there is a chance it's behind a few other games in terms of total units, because some games, are selling a lot of units really late at like $20. Games like Horizon and stuff, they sold a ton up front as well. But what I mean is that total units, you're selling a lot of units later on that aren't full price. But it means it's doing amazing. It's doing amazing in the U.S. So a fantastic start for it. Seems to be holding pretty good in the U.S. Europe seems to not be holding as well as the U.S., which is interesting. I would have never predicted that, Elias, actually. I would have thought that Europe would have held actually better for The Last of Us than the U.S., because Europe is really embraces Sony's first-party games. Of course, so does the U.S., but I thought this game might do better in Europe than the US, but it seems that that's probably not right. For example, on the PlayStation bestsellers list that we got, it was number 5 as the best-selling game on PSN in the United States, but it was down at number 10 in Europe. So that kind of points to US having better legs than Europe, which I think is interesting, not something that I expected. But overall, Elias, it means The Last of Us Part 2 is doing amazing. Iber Romero, hey sir, how are you? I'm doing good. My question is, there's some reports that in July, Switch of course had some percentage up in sales, but PS4 had 17% down, and Xbox the incredible amount of 84% down. Numbers was for the report only 17,000 Xbox sales in July, Switch 2,000 plus, and PlayStation 1 40,000 plus. I mean, I know Xbox don't care for hardware sales, but I think this is pretty bad. Thoughts? Okay, so I can't comment on exact percentages or units. I do that out of respect for NPD. I don't comment on any of the exact details. That is all NDA information. But there's some stuff in chat that you just dropped that people can read if they want to. So I'm not going to go into the exact units. What I will say is give my thoughts on the overall hardware situation. Switch continues to do fantastic, right? Has been all year. It's been doing amazing. This is going to be its peak year. Who knows if next year's bigger? I'm guessing not. But at least to date, this is going to be the peak year for Switch. It's going to be the best year that it's ever had so far. So Switch, yeah, doing amazing, as always for this year. It's like incredible how well it's doing. PlayStation, like I commented off the top, holding well, I think, especially for a console this late in the generation. Yes, it's down in sales, but I mean, for the percentage that it's down year over year, considering we're very close to PlayStation 5 releasing, I think PS4 is doing fine, doing great. But yeah, the Xbox hardware is a disaster. It's a actual disaster. I can comment a little bit more on that from my retail connections without going to NDA. What I can say, Eber, is a huge part of that is not having units to be sold. In July, there was like basically no Xboxes on shelves. The Xbox One X and the all digital were completely discontinued. They were just gone. Like, they don't even make those consoles anymore. They still make the S, but in July in particular, S was essentially gone. There was some retailers that had some stock that were still selling through some, but there was like nothing. What I can say, Eber, from what I'm seeing, roughly halfway through the month, is August will be a better result for Xbox than July was. So don't expect to see the July numbers repeated in August, but it's still not going to be great. Still going to be very low. But in July in particular, yeah, the Xbox number is insanely low. What I can say is privately, I talk to people about certain things. I do. I think that's obvious, right? I'm someone that talks about sales publicly. So, of course, I talk to people privately. And one of the things I was saying privately to people was that I didn't expect Xbox to be able to go over 50,000 units in the month. I thought it was definitely going to be under 50,000 units for July. And some people were shocked that I was telling them that was my expectation, and turned out to play true. Yes, it was definitely... Again, not going too into NDA territory, but it was, around abouts where I was thinking lower than. So, yeah, shockingly bad month for Xbox. It's worse ever. Kimus18. Given that two Bethesda-published games, Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo, are console-timed exclusive for the PS5, would you expect Starfield and The Elder Scrolls 6 to be timed exclusive as well? Well, Kimus, you never know. But I think those games are too big, especially the Elder Scrolls. No way on the Elder Scrolls unless Sony paid a absolute fortune. Keep in mind, Skyrim is one of the best-selling RPGs of all time. In fact, I would have to do some hardcore digging through data, but I believe in terms of a single-player RPG, it's probably the best-selling RPG of all time. Obviously, there's going to be MMORPGs like World of Warcraft, for example, that have done more. But in terms of just like a strictly single-player RPG, Skyrim is probably the number one. Pokemon would be your closest comparison. So to get the Elder Scrolls 6 to be timed exclusive, Sony would have to pay a massive amount of money. So does that mean it's impossible? No. But I think it's unlikely considering the size of the paycheck they would have to sign. Starfield, you never know, because it's a new IP, a little bit riskier than something like The Elder Scrolls 6, and we don't know how, what that project's going to be like in terms of quality, in terms of reception. So I would say Starfield would have a better shot at being a timed exclusive than The Elder Scrolls 6, but I'm personally going to guess neither. Games like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo would be much cheaper to secure as a timed exclusive than something like Starfield or The Elder Scrolls 6, because those are games from Bethesda, right? Whereas Bethesda owns and publishes the developers that are making Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. It's not Bethesda Game Studio, the team that's known for Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Those games are so huge. I just think that those would be too costly, but you never know. Could happen, but I'm going to guess no. Definitely not, I don't think, on the Elder Scrolls. We just had a super chat drop. Let me hit this super chat really quick. Franklin Clinton 98 dropping a super chat here. Thank you so much, Franklin, saying, what did you think of the Avengers beta? Yeah, I have a few thoughts on the Avengers beta. So the first thing I tweeted out was very positive. I will tell you, after playing a little bit more, I'm a little less positive, but still overall excited to play it. So my first tweet was that I had said, wow, this might be a controversial take online because I'm seeing so much hate, but I thought the opening mission of the beta was awesome. I really enjoyed it as a really big comic fan, as someone that goes to every single Marvel movie in the theaters. You know, I read Marvel comics. I'm a huge comic book nerd. So to be able to play as those characters with a big AAA budget, I thought the opening bridge 8A mission, I thought it was really fun. It was beat 'em up combat. You know, it wasn't super in depth, but I really enjoyed it. I was like, yeah, this is a great start. What I will say after that, though, is I did have some more issues further on along the beta. Some of the traversal feels a little weird. Playing as Hulk, jumping around some of the levels, I thought felt a little strange. The graphics were uneven at times. At times it looks great. At other times it looks okay. Like I thought the opening mission in particular looked really good visually, but then there were some other segments that didn't hold up as well. I think the motion blur is way too aggressive. Like at times it's almost hard to see what's happening. It's so blurry. So I think they should tone that down a bit. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed thoughts. If I was going to give like a score to the beta, I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Not like a 10 out of 10 amazing mind-blowing experience, but I didn't hate it like some people are either. I think that my thoughts from the Avengers beta is that I think this is a game that's probably going to be really fun in like a year with a lot of patches and updated content. Gear feels a little basic to me, like the fact it doesn't do any visual changes or anything like that. So the gear is not super fun to mess with. I think I would have enjoyed it more if we were getting a full game like that opening 8A level. If it was just a single player, you know, linear experience, hardcore focused on single player content, I think I would have liked it more. And I'm someone that likes multiplayer. I'm not like a multiplayer hater, but I just think this game might have worked more in that style. But I think it's cool. Like, I'm going to play it. But yeah, it didn't blow my socks off. Like I said, I would say like a 7.5 out of 10 is what I would give that beta. Thank you for the super chat. Let me grab a drink really quick. All right. Question here from DR Amaro. Question 1. Rumors of Sony spending a lot of money in third-party deals of exclusivity. Do you think Final Fantasy VII Part 2, Final Fantasy 16, and other big names, very strong rumors of Grand Theft Auto 6 being exclusive as well, are going to be exclusive? Keep doing your amazing live chats, brah. Greetings. Thank you so much. Love doing the live chats. They're going to keep going. They're one of my favorite things to do. Thank you for the questions. Okay, so in regards to the rumors, I could definitely see Final Fantasy VII Part 2 being timed exclusive again. I could definitely see that. We saw it pay off for Sony with Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. I don't think it hurt Square Enix at all. The game's already over 5 million sold. Obviously, it could have sold more if it was on PC and Xbox as well, but clearly Sony gave them a paycheck for that. So the question is, how much more would it have sold, and how much did the money from Sony help offset that? I could definitely see Remake Part 2 being timed exclusive again. Wouldn't shock me at all. Like I said, I think the first part of the deal worked. 16, I could also see, to be honest. I mean, look at Square Enix and Sony. They've got some deals rolling. Spider-Man and Avengers is an exclusive. You know, and that's developed by Square Enix. Remake Part 1. So I would say 16 is a definite possibility. In terms of other big names, Grand Theft Auto 6 seems too expensive to me. We're talking over $1 billion they would have to pay for that. Over $1 billion. For sure over $1 billion. Who knows? It could be multiple billions, but at least $1+ billion. I think over $1 billion is too much to pay for timed exclusivity on one game, but you never know. But yeah, I think Remake Part 2 is a strong contender. Final Fantasy 16 is a strong contender. Possibly the next Mass Effect or Dragon Age or BioShock. These are all games that are in development that, who knows, possibly, if these rumors are true, that Sony is signing games that we think of as multi-platform to being exclusive, those would be some that I think wouldn't be out of control expensive that you could lock up that would still have a big impact. So that's kind of some of my thoughts on games it could be. But I don't know. I don't have firsthand information on what those games are. Javier Culper, I'm feeling a huge letdown for Xbox recently. If you see the polls of big names of IGN, like Brian Altano, the recent editor-in-chief of Game Informer, did another poll about PS5 or Series X, and like 90% always win PS5. I mean, you always mention, and we as fans, we know the PS5 is the market leader, but I'm feeling even with Game Pass, the pro-consumer moves Xbox is doing is not enough. It feels like PS as a brand is incredibly huge. Not here to criticize Xbox, but I feel PlayStation is very far ahead. Any opinion on this? Thank you. Javier, I've commented on this before. I feel like Microsoft definitely did not capitalize off of their momentum that they had at the beginning of the year the way that they could have. So I definitely feel that way. One thing I can tell you from someone that does online talking, I'm not a huge person on Twitter like some of these with over 100,000 followers, but it's a decent following. I'm over 15,000 now. Or I mean, not over. I'm very close to 15,000 Twitter followers, which is a decent following. PlayStation always gets more traction. It just does. Anything I tweet PlayStation related is always getting more traction than Xbox related or even Nintendo related. I definitely tweet about Nintendo the least. But of the three, I mean, it's just PlayStation gets traction online. You know, there's lots of theories about why that can be, but it just does. Anyone with a social media following will tell you that. Anyone. Except for maybe someone that specializes specifically on one thing. Like there's some people that are just Xbox or just Nintendo. But anyone that covers everything, any tweet about PlayStation is just going to get more interaction for the most part than anything else I tweet. It just seems Sony has fantastic mind share online. They just do. They dominate online discussion in general. They are the market leader, of course, which makes a big impact. And I think also one of the things that really impacts this is Microsoft has completely collapsed this generation outside of the US, UK, and like Mexico. Those markets are still really good for it, but like mainland Europe, it just collapsed compared to the 360. It's not even close. Like Xbox still did very good this generation in the US for the most part, but outside of the US, it just collapsed. So really all the representation, these markets, you know, from people in France, people in Germany, people in, you know, all the countries I can name in mainland Europe, that's going to skew incredibly heavily PlayStation. So I think those are all factors. I agree with you that Xbox hasn't felt like they've had the momentum I think they could have. Game Pass, though, does feel like it has really strong momentum. So I'm not like someone that thinks Xbox is doomed or anything like this. But yeah, they don't feel like they have the momentum I think they could have leading into next gen. But Game Pass is doing amazing for them. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. We have 2 super chats that just dropped. Thank you so much. Let me hit these 2 super chats. We have 2 of them. Franklin Clinton 98 with a second super chat. Thank you so much, Franklin. Thank you. Thank you. About Flight Simulator. The game is getting amazing ratings, but do you expect it to possibly sell in the millions, or are those kind of games too niche? Franklin, this is actually a tweet I've been getting ready to send. I've been keeping an eye on it all morning. Let me check something for you really quick. The answer to your question is yes, it's going to sell millions of units. So right now, it has a concurrent peak player count on Steam. Currently, right now, as of the time of this filming, it has 61,777 players. This is the 3rd highest concurrent peak count ever for an Xbox game on Steam. Now, I mean specifically games. Halo has had multiple peaks higher than that, but out of the 3 biggest games ever on Steam, number 1 is Halo. Halo's highest peak is over 160,000, so huge. But Halo's also sold like 5 million plus units on Steam. After that is going to be Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is at 66,000, and we know that sold over 1 million on Steam. Right now, Flight Simulator is close to the all-time peak of Sea of Thieves at 61,000. Like I said, Sea of Thieves is at 66,000. So Franklin, yes, it's definitely on track to sell millions. It's doing right close to the peak ever for Sea of Thieves that we know sold over 1 million units on Steam. So Franklin, 100% it will happen. Yes, Flight Simulator is doing amazing. So yeah, it is going to be a multi-million unit seller. And then Kelligram with another super chat. Thank you so much, Kelligram. $10. Thank you so much. Any thoughts on Magic Legends? The lack of a PS4 beta to date kind of sucks. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, Kelligram. Thank you for the super chat. I wish I had more info. Magic is massive, right? Magic the Gathering is a gigantic IP. Why there's no beta or anything like that, I don't know. I think it could be a very big success all over the place. There's been rumors about a Magic the Gathering movies possibly happening. It's a huge brand, giant brand. So my thoughts is that it will be a very big success on consoles if it comes there, and what all happens with it. Where the beta is or anything like that, I don't know. I wish I had more information on that, Kelligram, but yeah, I would expect it to do very well whenever it does finally show up, but I'm not sure. Sorry, I don't have more information for you for the super chat. Ralph Muster, going back to the non-paid questions. Hi, Benji. First of all, that was a great selfie on Twitter. Thank you so much. I put that out because I went to a wedding over the weekend. It was outdoors, so luckily we weren't all cramped indoors with the pandemic and everything happening right now. Luckily, it was an outdoor wedding. Everything was outdoors. It was a beautiful wedding. So thank you for the compliments on the selfie. Switch was at around 350,000 last month, which is way down compared to earlier this year. Is this a result of shortages or did demand weaken? So it's kind of a mix of both, Ralph. So demand is definitely not where it was, when Switch was literally like breaking records, right? If you look at March and April this year, it did absolute absurd numbers. I mean, we're talking it was doing holiday numbers in the springtime. Now, that kind of pace is impossible to keep up. Like, it's just impossible to keep that kind of a level of pace up. So part of it is just demand going down. But what I will say is Switch hardware has improved, but it's still not, I would say, at a level where it's like all stores are just fully stocked all of the time, where like they're just always sitting on shelves. There's still a lot of times that there's no Switches in stores. So it's a bit of a mix. We're not quite at those peak highs that we were. Keep in mind, we were riding the launch of Animal Crossing. Everyone was in lockdown, so people were looking for things to do. They were looking for video games to play, things to take up their time. So that was a huge factor. Animal Crossing was a huge factor. We're quite a few months out from launch on that now. So, Ralph, it's still doing amazing, but it is a mix. The demand is just not where it was then, but it's still super high. And also, Switch is not fully stocked all of the time. There are still some shortages for it. Jupo here, Jupo Hig. I'm sure I did a terrible job pronouncing that. I'm so sorry. Ooh, this is interesting. Benji, with lots of rumors saying PlayStation have a deal with Rockstar for Grand Theft Auto 6. I really don't know if that is true. But now with big persons in the media like Imran Khan saying those things, big PlayStation third-party exclusives coming, I feel there is a reason their biggest PS5 event of the year, why PlayStation mentions first to Rockstar in their partnership. So it's just another question about Grand Theft Auto. I can't speak to what Imran Khan is saying because we actually both have each other blocked on Twitter, I think. There's a little bit of a behind-the-scenes thing there. I don't actually have anything against Imran Khan. It's kind of he seems like a nice person. A lot of people like him. We've actually never spoken to each other. It's kind of backdoor thing that there's no reason to talk about here. But yeah, I believe we both have each other blocked, so we don't see each other's tweets. So I can't speak to what he's saying. But again, this isn't anything personal. I'm not trying to start any drama. It's just a dumb thing that happened a while back. I should probably unblock him, to be honest. But anyways, in regards to Grand Theft Auto 6, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. The price tag would be enormous. It would be huge. I'm still doubting it, but if it happens, you know, if there's reliable people saying that, then I mean, it could. Sony would have to pay, like I said, at least $1 billion, potentially quite a bit higher than $1 billion. It could be multiple billions. It all depends on what Rockstar feels that's worth and the window of exclusivity. If we're talking a 1-year exclusive, it's going to be billions, plural, in my opinion. They would have to pay multiple $1 billion because Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the biggest launch ever in the history of the gaming industry. If it's a shorter window, let's say 3 or 6 months, you could bring that price down, but you're still paying at least $1 billion, possibly more. It just is so big. I don't know. It just seems too high to me. But you never know. I mean, you never know. Crazy things can happen. All right, we have another super chat here. 2 of them. 2 super chats. Split End 89, best moderator in the business. Thank you so much for the super chat, Split End. Is the Call of Duty trailer coming tomorrow given the ARG ends? I don't know. I would think, but I've also been on this channel saying now I feel like for like months that Call of Duty should be being announced any day. So Split End 89, at this point, I'm like, who knows? Who knows when that game is ever going to show up? I have no idea. I have no idea. I hope Split End. I feel like we need to know that this game is, we know it's coming. You know, they confirmed that, but we still haven't had a public reveal. So your guess is as good as mine at this point, Split End. I have no idea. They really have pushed this off. And then Timur with another super chat. My goodness, thank you so much, Timur. Thank you so much. Given Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord sold 500,000 copies in China. Amazing. How much do we think the game sold worldwide? Came out in March of this year. That's insane. 500,000 copies in China. I mean, even if you say that that's its biggest market, let's be generous, Timur, and say that China's its biggest market, you would still have to think that US and other territories would at least account for 500,000. So you would be for sure over 1 million. Man, past that, I don't know. I would say 1 million at least, because like I said, even if you want to say China, and you know what? Mount & Blade's the kind of thing that does good in Europe as well. So I'm going to say well over 1 million. I'm going to say it could be multiple millions by now. It very well could be. It's hard to say because we don't have a reliable Steam tracker anymore. It was so nice when we had Steam Spy that was very accurate for the most part in tracking sales. Nowadays, it's like a challenge. But Timur, like I said, you're looking at well over 1 million, possibly into the multiple millions, because we don't technically know. I don't believe that China is its biggest market, but even if we say it is, you're still going to have at least close, at least equal or far more than that worldwide matching. So I would say anywhere from 1.5 million plus. It could be multiple millions by now. Very, very easily could be. That game's a game that's kind of gone under the radar in terms of how well it's done this year. Because like you said, it was in March, over 500,000 just in March in China. Yeah, I mean, we're talking this is one of the biggest PC releases of the year, and it's kind of under the radar how well it's done. Franklin Clinton with another super chat. My goodness, thank you, Franklin. I think that's 3. That is incredibly generous. I think. I could be wrong here. At least 2. At least 2, possibly 3. Yeah, 3 from Franklin Clinton. Thank you so much, Franklin. There was a rumor of a second PS5 event happening this month. Yeah, I know. That was from Bloomberg, too, who's usually very reliable. It's getting late in the month. Do you think there's still a chance, or would it have been announced already? I don't know. Maybe it's going to be part of Gamescom. I think that's what Split End's saying here as well. Could be part of Gamescom. Gamescom is right around the corner. There's a chance of that, but we are very late. Like you said, it's the 18th. There's still time. Sony has done a lot of these like events, like State of Plays, with fairly short lead into it, like a week or two prior to announce. There's actually been some that are like less than a week for State of Plays. So who knows? I mean, they're with Sony, and the way this next gen build has gone, they could announce whatever this next event is 3 days before it happens. It's been such a weird build. I'm still going to choose to believe it because Bloomberg is really reliable. But what I will say, Franklin, is we know that from reliable people like Jeff Grubb and others that Microsoft has delayed their Lockhart event. Apparently that was originally going to be this month. Now it's going to be in September. So who knows? Maybe Franklin, Microsoft pushing that back is also going to push back what Sony was going to show. I don't know. I'm going to still guess that we are going to get something out of Sony this month. And I don't think it's too late for that to happen. There could be a short turnaround between announcement, but I would say there's a slim chance maybe Microsoft delaying more information to September has also delayed what Sony was going to talk about this month until later. It's a possibility. Thank you for all the super chats. It's incredibly, incredibly nice of you. Split End asking, am I as disappointed as Split End is about the Deathloop delay? Kind of, but not like super bad, Split End. Not because I'm not excited for that game. Arcane is amazing. They are a fantastic developer. I mean, they make some truly spectacular games. But I'm not too disheartened by it because it's not that far. It's coming out in Q2 of 2021, so it's not like it's getting pushed back like a full year or something like that. And I do think Q2 is probably a better release window for it. So I would definitely say I'm bummed. I would have loved to have been able to play it this holiday. But just between Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed, I know I'm getting both of those. And those are both giant open world games. So those are probably going to take me like 100 hours each anyways. It would have been hard to fit in Deathloop as well. So, I'm bummed, but I'm not like devastated about it. Joseph Crank saying, I think I'm the first one asking you for this. The time is coming, my friend. Create 2 polls in Twitter. One for what the community is going to choose this holiday. PS5 or Series X. Another poll, the incredible one. Game of the Year, The Last of Us 2 or Cyberpunk 2077. You have to do this, bro. Do it. Request. I did one poll somewhat similar to that. The poll that I had was saying that which event, the Sony event in June or the Xbox event in July, made people more excited for next gen, and that one won PlayStation by quite a landslide. I think it was something like 70% to 30% or something like that. I might do another one later right before launch, just asking which people are buying. There's a chance I'll do that. But if I do one of those, it'll probably be like right at launch window, just to get a final gauging of where people that follow me are leaning. And yeah, the Game of the Year one would be fun. We might do that one too. Closer to the end of the year, though. Those polls would be more towards the end of the year. But thanks for the question. Forzathon saying they have a Remedy fanboy question. Works for me because I'm a Remedy fanboy as well. Have you read the Quantum Break book? I have not. It tells a story that takes place in a parallel universe to the game, and it suggests that Monarch exists in the Earth that Alan Wake and Control take place in. Also, brief thoughts on all Remedy games and how would you rank them? Ooh, this is fun. Lastly, are you excited for Crossfire X? Okay, so I have not read that book. I have not read the Quantum Break book. Sounds super interesting, though. How would I rank the Remedy games? This is tough because the one that means the most to me personally, that like at the time blew me away the most, would be Alan Wake. That would be number 1. But at the same time, I think Control is actually a better game than Alan Wake, like the gameplay and stuff. So That is tough, but I'm still going to go with my heart. I'm going to put Alan Wake as number 1. I'm going to put Control as number 2. I'm not going to include the Max Payne games here because I enjoyed those games, but I was never like obsessed with Max Payne the way I was with some of their more future games because I really like the sci-fi and weird elements and even horror-ish elements they introduced later on into their games. So I'm just going to go with, between those three, I'm going to go Alan Wake, Control, and then Quantum Break. Still liked Quantum Break, but I don't like it as much as the other two. So that's how I would rank those. In terms of Crossfire X, I'm definitely excited to play it. I don't really care about the multiplayer component, but I am very interested to see how the campaign is. The graphics looked amazing, and I'm interested to see what Remedy do with a first-person shooter, so definitely excited for it. And then a last one here from Forzathon. Do you see Xbox making big Game Pass deals for late 2020 and early 2021 in compensation for the Halo Infinite delay? Yes. Also thoughts on next-gen launch with Deathloop delay. So we went into the second part there, but in regards to the Game Pass question, not any inside info here, but yeah, I think they're going to sign some really big deals now. Really big. I think they already were planning on it, but now that you have that gap, Halo Infinite, it cannot be undersold how big of a blow that is to lose that at launch. I mean, we're talking Halo, the biggest franchise that Microsoft has. All of the marketing buildup for years now has been Halo at launch with the next-gen launch, and now that is not happening. So yes, Forzathon, I think you're going to see some really big Game Pass deals to help fill that out. What they're going to be, I don't know. A lot of people have been saying Cyberpunk for a long time, but I definitely don't believe that. I just don't think CD Projekt Red, no matter what the price tag, is going to give up those sales because it's already going to sell insane. So there's no reason for them to sign a Game Pass deal. But will there be other ones? I think so. I think there's going to be some really big Game Pass announcements. Yes, Forzathon for sure. Silence PP7. What are your thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima Legends? Yes, this is so exciting. Free non-MTX multiplayer component, and could this become the norm for future Sony titles like Horizon, Spider-Man, Days Gone, God of War, etc.? Great question, Silence PP7. Couple thoughts here. First of all, from a fan perspective, and then I'll go into it from like a business perspective. On the fan side, love it. I absolutely love this announcement. I love how it came out of nowhere, no build-up, just boom, here's this. I just talked about on Twitter earlier today how I love Ghost of Tsushima. Like, it is amazing. I seriously love this game. It is one of my favorite games of the year by far. It's so good. I love the combat. I love the world. So just on a fan perspective, being able to play a co-op component, I mean, it's awesome. I absolutely love it. In terms of the business side, I think this is interesting to see Sony pursue some more multiplayer. We've talked about on this channel how Sony has really been so single player focused this generation. Horizon had no multiplayer. God of War had no multiplayer. Death Stranding had no like true multiplayer. It had like some online interaction weird thing, but it wasn't like standard multiplayer. Days Gone, no multiplayer. We could go on and on. Spider-Man. So clearly Sony is not so much into the multiplayer business. So I think it's good to explore this. I don't think that every single game now should have on a tacked on multiplayer component, but when it makes sense, I like to see Sony, explore this a little more. Multiplayer is huge. A lot of us love single player games, but multiplayer is a gigantic business. It's a gigantic thing, and it's something that Sony just really this gen has done very, very, very little of. So I like this. If it's a success, I would love to see some more of Sony's studios experimenting in the multiplayer space. Again, I don't think it's one of those things that should be forced onto every game, but if the devs have a cool idea, they think it can work, they think it would make sense, I would love to see it, yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited to buy this announcement. We have a super chat that just dropped. Let me hit that super chat. Thank you so much from Benji. Thank you, Benji. One of the mainstays in the chat from the very beginning. Thank you so much for this super chat, Benji. Hi Benji, $60 for Pikmin 3 Deluxe. That's a lot for a Wii U port, not even a remaster. Nintendo fan here, but Big N is pushing it. Thoughts? Yeah, here's what I'll say, Benji, to kind of piggyback off of that. I find it a little weird that this year, outside of the beginning of the year, is starting to look like a year that might be just like all about ports and remasters, which I think is a weird spot to be in. Because look, we have Pikmin 3 Deluxe. We just had Xenoblade, which is a remake. Don't get me wrong here, folks. I'm not bashing Nintendo. Just hold on. Let me complete my thought before anyone freaks out. But we had Xenoblade, which is a remake of an older game. We have Pikmin 3. Rumored that there's going to be Mario remakes. And then also this latest listing that looks like maybe Skyward Sword as well. It just seems weird that this year is so much outside of like Animal Crossing, potentially like a heavy ports and remakes year for Nintendo. I would have liked to see more original, brand new games from them. So not the end of the world. You know, there's been some rumors that Nintendo has really struggled in this developing from home kind of thing that a lot of Japanese studios are actually. There's been some rumors that Japan's been struggling with work from home a little bit more than in the West. I don't know if that's true. This is not inside information from me. That's just kind of rumors that are floating around. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe these ports are a lot easier for them to get out, you know, to get ready this year than these big brand new games. So I just do think it's a little weird, Benji, that potentially this year's really dominated for Nintendo by remakes and ports of Wii U games. These are great games, fantastic games. I've never played Pikmin 3, so I'm excited to play it. But yeah, I would have liked, we don't know, the year's not over, so maybe some stuff changes. But if that ends up being our lineup for the rest of the year, I would have really liked to see a few more like big Nintendo brand new games. But we'll have to see. You know, we don't know for sure yet. And then 2 more super chats. Thank you so much. Kelligrim with number 3, I think. My goodness. Some of you are so generous. Thank you so much. The multiple super chats from some of you is humbling. So thank you. It's incredible. $10 super chat here from Kelligrim. Thank you so much. Next God of War. Do we see just campaign and no frills to move consoles or add in extras, DLCs, microtransactions to capitalize on its success? This is a great question, Kelligrim. This is a great question. Ooh. Here's my thoughts. I think microtransactions, probably not. But I do think you'll see the next God of War have paid DLCs. This last one did not, which was kind of weird, I thought, because a lot of Sony's games did, right? Horizon Zero Dawn had the Frozen Wilds expansion. Spider-Man had multiple expansions. Not all of them. Days Gone didn't have any paid expansions. But Sony has had a lot of those this gen. But God of War did not. It had nothing. It had the game and then no real, like you said, no MTX, no DLC. Kelligrim, my guess, and it's just a guess, is that we won't get microtransactions, but you will get a beefy add-on DLC. Kind of like how Horizon had the Frozen Wilds. It would be shocking to me, Kelligrim, to have 2 huge God of War games, because we know the next God of War is going to be gigantic, and the last one was gigantic. It'd be very weird to me from a business move to not capitalize on that at all outside of just the unit sales. So my guess, no MTX, but yeah, you're going to get some DLC for the next one. I would think for sure. That'd be shocking if not. And then Forzathon here with a super chat. Thank you so much, Forzathon. Do you see Wasteland 3 becoming a huge success on Game Pass? Wasteland is a cult classic franchise and has a fan base, but it's still niche at $60. Could be, Forzathon, yes. I could see Wasteland 3 being one of those games that on console specifically does much better on Game Pass than in sales. I could see Steam and PC having a pretty good sales ratio because this is the kind of game that PC players really like. So I think on PC in particular could sell very strong there, but on console, yeah, I think consoles really Wasteland 3 is going to be carried by Game Pass instead of full price sales, because like you said, it's kind of niche. Wasteland 3 seems to be a big jump up for the franchise compared to the older games. They got a lot bigger budget from becoming a Microsoft first-party studio. We know that. Like, they have commented publicly, the dev team, that Microsoft funneled more money into the development. So I think it's going to be probably really good, but it's still not a franchise, like you said, that has like this gigantic following. So yeah, Forzathon, Wasteland in particular on consoles, probably more Game Pass heavy than sales heavy. Yeah, I think that's accurate. All right, I think we have the super chats cleared. Let's go back to some of the free questions. Thank you so much for the super chats, everyone. We'll go for like another 20 minutes. We're close to an hour. So yeah, we'll wrap it up in about 15 to 20 minutes. But there's still quite a few questions, so I'll definitely hit a lot more. Okay. Javier Macias Leon. Hi, Benji. I hope you are doing great, doing good. With Halo and Deathloop, we have 2 holiday releases delayed to 2021. Which other games do you think could be delayed? Is Spider-Man safe? By the way, where is Silksong? I hope we don't have any more delays. That would be a bummer, but I think it is possible. If I pointed to one, it would be Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't think Cyberpunk is. A lot of people are worried about Cyberpunk, but it's already been delayed so many times. I don't think they'd delay it again. I mean, you never know, but wow, if they delay that game again, then that's crazy. I mean, that would be, what, 3 or 4 delays for that game? So for now, I'm going to say Cyberpunk's safe. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a potential to be delayed. It comes out so close to Cyberpunk. I wouldn't be shocked to see that one move. I hope it doesn't, but I wouldn't be shocked. Spider-Man, I think, is safe. Spider-Man's not as big of an undertaking as some of these other games. Don't get me wrong, it's still big, but everything we know isn't that it's a DLC. I see some people make the claim this is a DLC, but it's not. It's like a standalone thing, kind of like Uncharted Lost Legacy. Now, it doesn't mean it's the exact same length or the exact same scope, but the same sort of thought processes, right? Like Uncharted Lost Legacy is not Uncharted 5. It's like a more in-between sized launch. I think Spider-Man's safe because it's not as grandiose of a project as something like Cyberpunk or Valhalla, which are like 100+ hour games. So I think Spider-Man's safe. Right now, if I pointed to one that I think might get delayed, it would be Assassin's Creed. I hope not, but that's the one that's kind of looking like maybe a little bit shaky that it might. And Kieran with a very similar question right here. If news came out tomorrow that Miles Morales was delayed to next year, would that surprise you? It would. It would, Kieran. I think Spider-Man's really the flagship game for the PlayStation 5 launch. It would surprise me. It would surprise me. If it was, whew, that would be bad. That would be really bad. Karen, what is your favorite video game soundtrack? Ooh, this is tough. This is tough. There's a lot. A lot of the Halo soundtracks. Halo Reach has an amazing soundtrack. Marty O'Donnell is like one of the best composers that there are, I think, in the gaming industry. So I would put some of the Halos up there. Halo 3, Halo Reach. Those games have phenomenal soundtracks. I would put some of the Final Fantasy games up there. Final Fantasy X has an amazing soundtrack. Final Fantasy VIII. That's 2 of them. I love the soundtrack for the Life is Strange games. Life is Strange and Before the Storm both have excellent. I thought that Life is Strange 2 soundtrack was a step down personally from those 2. Didn't hate it, but I do think it was a step down. But I loved the soundtracks for Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm. They had this cool indie vibe that just fit those games. I would put that up there. Nier Automata has an amazing soundtrack for Nier Automata. I can never say it right, but that game, there's a few off the top of my head. Those are all spectacular. The Ori games. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm a massive music nerd on top of the million other things I'm a nerd about, right? Video games, MMA, music. I'm a bit of a renaissance man, I guess, in that I have a ton of passions. But that's just off the top of my head. I could list you soundtracks for like probably an hour of soundtracks that I love. But great question, yeah. Tanmay Singh here. Hey, Benji, love your insights. What do you think Death Stranding sales figures are? Ooh, for both PlayStation and PC. Also, what should Kojima's next game be according to you? Fun. I'm a huge Kojima fan. So Death Stranding's total sales, this is literal a shot in the dark because we have no information from Sony or Kojima Productions on this. So I'm going to be wildly guessing here. Wildly. I'm going to guess it's somewhere between Steam and PS4. Somewhere between 3 to 5 million would be my guess. That could be wildly off, but I think it's probably in that range. 3 to 5 million. You know, I'd be surprised if it's above that, to be honest. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I would be surprised if it's higher than 5 million. 3 to 5 million feels right to me. So that would be my range. I think somewhere right in there. But again, this is hard to say because we never got a single figure from Sony. Like, for example, Spider-Man, I can make a much stronger prediction on. Just to give you like an example on my thought process. Like Spider-Man, we knew it was at 13.2 million sold last August. We're a year later and we've seen it have great legs. So that game, like, I know is over 15 million and I know it's probably getting closer to 20 million. It's probably even in that 18 to 19 million range. Wouldn't shock me. Something like Death Stranding's tough because Sony never gave one number. So we have no basis, you know what I mean? You have no way of really forecasting where it was and where it could be now. But I think 3 to 5 million makes the most sense just looking at chart placements and such. I'd be shocked if it was over 5 million, and under 3 million seems unlikely. So I think that's probably pretty solid. In terms of what I want Kojima to do next, horror. You know, I think PT is like mind-blowingly good. I love horror in general, so I would love to see Kojima make a horror game. I don't know if that's what's happening. There's actually some rumors it might be Death Stranding 2 from things he's tweeted out and from like some LinkedIn posts and stuff. So it's possible we're looking at a sequel to Death Stranding, like in the same universe. I would play the heck out of that as well. But personally, if I could choose, I want him to do straight up horror. I want a horror game from Kojima. All right, we have a super chat. We have the Mr. Pios saying, what up, Benji? What is up? Mr. Tarantino KTG saying, leave a like. I would appreciate the likes, everyone. I'm not one of those people that spams likes. Some people are always like the video, like the video, like the video. But I am going to, if you like doing the chats, hit that like button. It helps the chat get discovered and helps the channel get discovered so we get more questions and more people into the chats. So I would appreciate the likes. Let me scroll down because we did get another super chat. Kellegrim with another super chat. My goodness. This is insane. Thank you, Kellegrim. I think that's number 4 from you. That is like insanely kind. Thank you. Saying, aside from the drama, the Doom Eternal soundtrack was legit. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you're saying, just saying, yes, yes. Whenever I list my favorite soundtracks, definitely Doom is up there too. Both Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, top tier soundtracks. I'm a huge metalhead. I play, metal on guitar. I play like crazy metal on there. And those are heavy, chuggy. Yes, the Doom soundtracks are awesome. It's a bummer about the drama, like you mentioned, very much so, going on between the composer and Bethesda. But yeah, Doom has some sick, awesome soundtracks. Thank you for the super chat. Jose Contreras, would Paper Mario sales be higher than Ghost if the NPD included digital sales? No, Jose, but it would be higher. It would not beat Ghost, though. Ghost had a massive debut. Paper Mario had a good debut, but even if you double Paper Mario sales, they wouldn't match Ghost, I don't believe. So even if digital doubled it, you still wouldn't be in Ghost territory. So nope, Ghost would still be number one. But it's still a great launch for Paper Mario. And of course, it might have been number two. I think there's a real chance it would have passed Call of Duty as number two. But number one, Ghost just was the bigger game. So Ghost would still be number one. Red Dead Series saying, sup, what is up, Red Dead Series? We have another super chat here from Timmer. My goodness, y'all. Y'all are amazing. It's ridiculous how kind you are. Thank you. With the recent death of Robert Trump, yeah, this is crazy, right? Do you think it will affect ZeniMax as the company overall going forward, if at all, plus the situation with Warner? It could. So Robert Trump has been a sitting board member since, like, literally this company, since Bethesda started, since it's been around. Robert Trump is a long-time board member, so it definitely could affect ZeniMax, because someone like that is going to have, you know, a position of authority just from being there as a mainstay so long. We don't know exactly his day-to-day process and how much exact influence Robert Trump had. They're a private company, so you don't have all of the intricate details, but it is someone that has been a very long-term part of this company. So it definitely could, Timur. It definitely could. There's already been some rumblings that, you know, ZeniMax may be going public. You know, this could potentially affect that as well. We don't know, but it's potentially possible. I would say yes. Timur, I would say we don't know the true scope of how much it affects Bethesda, but anytime you have someone, and keep in mind he's only one board member, there's going to be others as well. We don't even know that, you know, he's the most powerful or anything, but anytime you have someone like that in a private company that's been around for so long, it's going to have some sort of effect. Not sure the degree, though. And then you say that plus the situation with Warner. That I'm not 100% sure about, that part of the question. If you want to drop a second comment, no need to do super chat, Tim, or right on the bottom what you mean about the situation with Warner, then I can expand on it a little bit more. Franklin Clinton 98 with another super chat. My goodness. Y'all with the repeat super chats, it's insanely nice of you. I'm serious. I know I keep repeating that, but like that's crazy. I don't know if you talked about it already, but what do you think about Sekiro selling 5 million in a year? Do you think FromSoft games are now mainstream? Yeah, Franklin. I think we can fully say that From Software has crossed over to being mainstream. It's been that way for a while, right? Dark Souls has been a big franchise for a while. So on one hand, it feels weird to say, yeah, now they're mainstream. But on the other hand, there was a time where From Software was seen as kind of like a very hardcore gamer only kind of bubble type thing. But they've been big for a while. But I think that now that we've seen something besides Dark Souls break out big, we had Bloodborne, which did well, but that was like kind of console exclusive. We didn't see the full scope of what it could be. But now that we have an IP, it's not Dark Souls. It's a brand new IP in Sekiro, also sell 5 million. It just proves that, yes, From Software has broken out. They're not a one trick, you know, they're not just, oh, Dark Souls is our only thing that we can make really big. We can make other IP very big as well. So yeah, I think FromSoft, without a doubt, you have to say that they are a top developer in the industry for sure. For sure, Franklin. All right, we are going to be close now. We're going to go for about 5 to 10 more minutes. So let me pull a few questions here from down low in the non-paid. That way for people that came into the chat late, I can answer for you. Drudwin, is there a chance that either of the next-gen consoles gets a delay? I don't think so, because I think if they were gonna, for example, Xbox, I think if Xbox was gonna delay, they would have delayed alongside the Halo announcement. I don't think that they would delay Halo Infinite and then wait and then also delay the console. I think they would have just went hand in hand. If they really thought that they were going to delay the Xbox, I think it just would have went with the Halo announcement. So Xbox, I think, is definitely safe to come out this year. PlayStation, I also feel like isn't going to delay. I think they're going to come out. I think there's a chance they come in hot, though. And what I mean by hot isn't necessarily like that they're going to be overheating. I mean, like, I think they're going to be coming in terms of like software and that type of stuff getting finalized really late in the process. Not the hardware itself. The hardware itself, it seems to be pretty set in stone for a while now, especially on PlayStation side, but more like on the software end of things. Think we're going to be coming in hot to launch. Stuff is going to be getting finalized like real late. But that's just what happens when you have a giant pandemic happen right in the middle of the year, right? It's going to affect everything. Red Dead series with a great point, which is similar to a tweet that I sent out. We are less than 3 months away from next-gen consoles, and we haven't seen any Spider-Man or UI reveal for PS5. Yeah. I had sent out a tweet. I see some people, not everyone, but I see some people say that they're not as excited for this generation transition as they were for some older ones. Now, of course, some people are more excited, but I have seen some people be like, man, I was really excited for the PS4 and Xbox One, and this one I'm just feeling a little bit more meh. And I think a big part of that isn't because of the consoles, because the hardware sounds amazing. It's because we've seen so little. I mean, we're 3 months from launch, and you can count how much in-game footage, I mean actual gameplay, not like cinematic cuts, like Horizon's trailer was, where Horizon, that was all in-game. I don't think any of it's faked or anything like that, but it's not like you're not watching gameplay. You're watching like cinematic. In terms of like in-game play of next-gen games, you've seen like Ratchet, you've seen Ratchet and Clank, you've seen Halo, but you haven't seen like a lot, right? We've seen very little long-form gameplay of next-gen games. And I think that definitely is affecting some people's hype, as some people are feeling like, I have barely seen anything. I want to see these next-gen games. So yeah, Red Dead, it is crazy that we're this close to launch and we have not seen, like you say, Spider-Man, the UI. We still don't even have price tags. This is what I mean, Red Dead, when I said just a couple minutes ago, I think we're going to be coming into next gen hot because it's crazy. We've still seen so little. Looks like Benji is getting in one last super chat right before the end of the stream as we get ready to wrap up in the next couple minutes. Thank you, Benji. Thank you for a super chat here right towards the end. Saying just joining the multiple super chat gang. Fantastic work, Benji. Well, that's incredibly kind of you. Everyone's super chats here mean a lot. As I mentioned in every stream, it seems like now, I make barely any money off of ad revenue because my videos get like 1,000 or 2,000 views, which is not going to get you ad revenue. So thank you. All these super chats, they mean the world to me because this is like my only really income from YouTube. So thank you. These live chats are literally my favorite things I do. They're more fun to me than posting on Twitter or anything like that. So thank you. Split End getting in a question here. Oculus requiring a Facebook account for login in October. Crazy. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of this. I have an Oculus Quest. I love my Oculus Quest. It is literally one of the most awesome pieces of hardware I've ever purchased. Seriously. counting consoles, counting anything. Oculus Quest is just a phenomenal piece of kit. I love my Oculus Quest. Like, Oculus has me as a customer now, I'll be honest with you, for life. Like, every time that I can get a new Oculus headset that's like really good, whatever the follow-up to the Quest is, if it's like a big enhancement, I'm buying that thing because they make some amazing VR. But it is crazy that they're going to require a Facebook account to log in. I don't like this because it's a social media thing. I don't like it. Like, some people will make the point, well, to log into PlayStation or Xbox, you need a PlayStation account or you need an Xbox account. And yes, but it's not the same thing as like a Twitter or a Facebook. I think that feels a little bit more gross. I think just an Oculus account, I get requiring something like that. But Facebook specifically, Facebook owns Oculus, but I don't know. Not the biggest fan of that, especially with some of the things Facebook does. You know, they're at times a somewhat sketchy company, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I don't love it, Split End. I don't love it at all. As much as I love my Oculus Quest, I don't love them requiring a Facebook account at all. All right, is there any final questions? Let me pick out one or two questions, and then we're going to call it a chat. Thank you, everyone, for an amazing another chat. As always, y'all make this chat amazing. You know, there's a lot of people that come in and watch these videos afterwards, right? Like, we get about, a couple hundred, 100 people or so in chat, and a lot of people come in afterwards and watch the video, and that's directly because of your guys' questions. So, these videos are literally nothing without your questions. You provide the content for me to answer. So thank you, everyone who shows up to these all the time. I see so many repeat faces, so many repeat names. Y'all are the best. Kellegrim with a final super chat here. Thank you so much, Kellegrim, for the final super chat. Forgot to ask until just now. Sorry. Never apologize, Kellegrim, especially when you're as nice as you are here with the... I think this is 4 super chats. It's off the chain now. It's ridiculous. Forgot to ask until just now. Sorry. Do you think PS5 will update PSVR hardware? This is a great question, Kellegrim. Yes. So here's my thoughts. I do think you're going to get a PSVR 2.0 on PlayStation 5. Sony has been patenting way too many VR patents for them to not be developing a new prototype headset. There's clearly another PlayStation VR coming for PlayStation 5. It just makes sense. As someone that owns like an Oculus Quest and has seen the things that Oculus is doing, VR is coming a long way from where it was back when the original PSVR came out. So yeah, there's just been so many advances in the VR world and in tech, and Oculus specifically has really started gaining some serious momentum in VR. Like right now, this year and the end of last year, like last holiday through this year, was the first time that me as like someone who is a quote unquote analyst, an independent analyst, this has been the first year where I can look at the VR market and be like, yeah, like there's a legitimate market here. Like VR is really starting to take off on the Oculus side of things. So I think it's crazy to not have a new VR headset. So yeah, there's going to be, but it's not going to be at launch. So it's going to be later on down the line. There will definitely be a PSVR 2. I think Sony's not exiting that game, but don't expect it like in the first year. I think it's going to be a couple years down the road, 2 to 3 years into the PlayStation 5 life cycle. And then Forzathon here with a super chat right at the end. Right at the end, Forzathon's going to get this last question since Forzathon dropped in a super chat right at the end. Last question for Forzathon for everyone. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Microsoft Flight Simulator backlash regarding how Microsoft handles downloads and people not being able to refund as a result. Yes, I have seen this. I have seen it being crazy controversial. So for anyone that missed, basically, Flight Simulator takes like forever to download, like forever to install from what I'm understanding. I'm not playing it on PC. This is just what I'm reading online. And apparently it takes so long and you're technically in the game that it could affect your Steam refund. So keep in mind, the way Steam refunds work is it depends on your hours played. Like, if I don't remember the exact hour, it might be 2 hours. I could be wrong on that, but essentially, like, you have a hard cut time. If you play over this amount of time, Steam does not let you refund the game. And apparently the download is taking so long in the game that you're going past the refund. So that's not good. That is not good at all, because if people aren't able to do a return now because of this, crazy. Yeah, crazy. I think Steam should offer, in this case, this particular game, I think Steam should offer some form of extended playtime refund. If it's going to take your whole playtime just to install it, yeah, there's something needs to be worked out there in case someone wants to return it, that they don't get hurt because they spent their whole playtime installing something and now they can't return it. All right, I hope that answers your question. Thanks, everyone, for another amazing live chat. Thank you. I love doing these so much. Thank you for the kindness from everyone who did a super chat. I tried to hit as many free questions as possible, as always. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you like the video if you like doing these chats. Helps people discover my channel. Helps the YouTube algorithm. If you're not a subscriber yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We do 1 to 2 of these per week. I will see you all in the next live chat, which potentially could be this week. We're doing one on Tuesday. So I would say if there's big gaming news, we potentially could go on Friday. I don't know. That's not a promise, but let's say there's some big gaming news this week. It's possible we can get in a Friday live chat as well. Otherwise, I will see y'all over on Twitter. Thanks so much, everyone, for an amazing chat, and I will catch you either on Twitter or in the next YouTube live stream. Thanks so much, everyone. Stay safe, play some games, and I will see you soon. Bye.